any legislation that you're interested in seeing the city council enact, repeal, or revise? If so, what is it? And what would you propose? Let me repeat the question. Have you thought about any legislation that you are interested in seeing the city council enact, repeal, or revise? If so, what is it? What would you propose?
Remember the exact ordinance number, but it's the one that defines the office of city administrator. If you read it, it appears to be in direct conflict with the state statute. It states that the city administrator would be the chief executive officer and would report to the council. If the mayor needs the city administrator, I think the mayor should have one. But I think that as a municipal officer that reports to the mayor, the authority of the city administrator is derived from the mayor. So it's so blatantly bad, I would say repeal it and write a new one, but I guess you're actually saying let's revise it. Well, let's revise it so that it can be an office that can assist the mayor. I don't believe we need it, but the thing is, if circumstances in the future are such that the mayor can't do all the work that's necessary, because it is an unpaid job, okay? It is an unpaid job, and I'd hate to have the requirement that you be retired or independently wealthy to be mayor, okay? So if the mayor needs a city administrator, we should create an ordinance that allows us to have an administrator that reports to the mayor. Thank you.
The city, as it stands, has various and sundry city policies that are drawn up by the councils in the past and are part of statute that are adopted by ordinance. It appears that some of our city council members at this time never read them. They didn't understand them.
You mean like the one about this, that they had about this meeting?
Something like that, yeah.
It's a resolution, it's no binding.
But what I feel like is that any city employee, any council member or mayor or whoever that has any dealing with city policies knows what the city policies are. And when they're sworn in as a council, they are sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the law of the state of Texas, and ordinances of the city of Rome. Well, the city policies that are personnel manual and all this is a part of city policy, the Rome ordinance. And when you see violations in this city policy, in the personnel manual, which is part of city policy, and you don't do anything about it, or you just ignore it, then I think that's an issue. I think that is something that needs to be handled. And I've always said, even when I was on the council mayor before, if you don't like ordinance, get up and get the change. You know, that's what the people are for. They're to tell the council what we want, what we need, what is going to be the law. The council is their obligation to do that. And if you don't like the personnel policy the way it is, make changes in it. Don't ignore it. Don't violate it. Don't just blatantly throw it back in people's face when they show it to you. Change it. Adhere to city policy. That's what I think.
There are a number of ordinances that are on the books of the city, and some of these, from what I understand, were adopted from other communities and tried to, fit for what we have here in Rome. And sometimes it's like taking a square peg and trying to put it in a round hole. I was contacted by some of the citizens here who live over in Bywell about a specific problem over there. Actually, there's two. And when I approached someone to find out why we couldn't enforce the ordinances around something like that, so, like that Bywell community should be a residential community. It's, single-family dwellings and so forth. There's actually a home at the beginning of Bywell as you drive in. There's a large number of cars around there all the time, and it kind of led me to believe that there's more than one family living in that dwelling. Things like that need to be taken care of. Somebody on the other side of Bywell decided he was going to have a racetrack in his backyard and cause all kinds of noise in that. We can't, why couldn't we enforce the noise ordinance? And, the other ordinances that may fall in line with that. We need to look at these ordinances and we need to look at resolutions and whatever we have, and we need to fit them to our community. We need to pay attention to our citizens because they're the ones that are telling us what we need to do. So it's up to you guys to tell us. It's up to us to make it help you.
Like the little kid that can't speak loud enough. The answers that I've heard are all good answers. In the last year, I've had a lot of challenges because there are rules that don't quite fit the problems that we've had, and they have not given the complainants the recourse that seems fair to me. Leanne is right. There are some that just don't fit. David is right. There are policies that are selectively enforced, and my hands have been tied when I try to make it fair for everybody. You're right, city administrator. At some point, as the growth comes, we will need somebody here more regularly. I'm not opposed to a city administrator. I don't know if that's a surprise to anybody, but I'm not. I never have been. But I'm for advertising, interviewing multiple candidates. Any one particular ordinance? No, there's not one. There's many that we need to look at. All three of these answers are problems that we have that we do need to address and look at, and that is the council's job to do that.
Actually, funny you should mention that, it's on my list. And I just want to add something to what Mrs. Tippman had said about accountability or taking responsibility. I spoke to the council the other night about just that, taking responsibility, not just turning around and saying, oh no, the mayor did it. And I think that's a big thing with garnering trust is people who, and that's what we should do, every one of us, as adults. You stand up, you take responsibility for your actions, whatever those consequences are. You can't just take the credit if it turns out well. Anyway, and in answer to what you said about the ordinances, I've looked through many of our ordinances. Of course, they just seem to go on until next Thursday. And that's one of my revisions that I do propose is a comprehensive review and overhaul. Sometimes our ordinances appear to be haphazard. There's some cases where they're redundant. They don't need to be there. Both the policy, city policies and ordinances. And sometimes you're infringing on property and individual rights. And as one who, I truly believe in the Constitution, and not just if you agree with me. But I think the whole thing needs to be done. I think particularly we need to put some teeth in ethics, because we have had a major problem with ethics. Awarding small favors, well, sometimes not so small favors, to friends and family. Oh, we like him, so we just give him a big old contract. No, we can't do that. We've got to stop those. And it's in our own ordinances. It's in Texas statutes. I'm sure it's somewhere in the Constitution. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Larry, a little technical problem with the time here.
Absolutely.